Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Locker Room. Happy to have you here tonight as we head back to Houston for another reunion with the cast of NBC's soap, Texas. Premiering in 1980 as a spinoff of Another World, Texas gave us unforgettable families, storylines, and characters that remained beloved by fans today. Tonight, we'll be joined by Tina Johnson, who played Lurlene Harper, Harley Jane Kozak, who played Brette Wheeler, Michael Woods, who played Mark Wheeler, and Terri Garber, who played Allison Linden. We'll also welcome back author Tom Lisanti, whose book, Texas, An Oral History of Daytime TV's Answer to Dallas, celebrates this series and the talented people who brought it to life. So sit back and enjoy the memories, laughter, and the behind-the-scenes stories of a soap that still means so much to its fans. Please welcome Terri Garber, Tina Johnson, Harley Jane Kozak, Michael Woods, and Tom Lisanti to the Locker Room. Hello, everybody. Hi, everybody. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back in time, a long time. Tell us what you remember about this. Do I have it correct? This is really all of your first daytime roles?
Yes.
Like daytime contract roles.
Not Michael.
Not me.
Not you.
I was on All My Children before that.
In a contract role.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Not for long.
Not for long.
It was not a match made in heaven. I think I told you that. Yeah. I was opposite Susan Lucci, and I was too young, and it was not. Anyway, it's a long story.
Not the right fit at the right time.
Not the right fit at the right time. A little bit too hoity-toity for me.
I knew that because I just got sucked into Tom's book this afternoon.
Yeah.
And I was madly reading as fast as I could.
Great.
It was a page turner. So I learned all about my friends about whom I knew nothing, or maybe I did know, but I forgot it all.
You were living with Ken Schreiner when you could have come and lived with
that
me?
Was later.
Oh, okay.
And just for maybe a week. Yeah.
Okay.
Damn, I haven't gotten to that part of the book yet.
I didn't know that either.
The headline sounds better than the story.
and you're right, Harley. That would be a headline. It would be. Terri, what do you remember about your audition for Texas?
Not much. I know. I just remember being very nervous and very excited at the same time. I had tested for All My Children, for One Life to Live, didn't get those parts, felt pretty slammed. Ryan's Hope I auditioned for. And I was really excited. I didn't know that it was to replace someone. I didn't know anything about the character, really. Just do the lines and do the best you can.
And it worked out.
It worked out.
It did work out.
It worked out. Tina, how about yourself? What do you remember?
They brought me in. Gail had come to see the Broadway show I was in. I was in Best Little Whorehouse at the time, playing Angel. And she got me to come in for Ruby, the part of Ruby. And I remember thinking, this isn't me. I'm not going to get this. But they liked me. So then they kind of wrote Lurlene for just a 6-week part just to see if it worked. And luckily it did. So then I got to stay.
Absolutely.
Very nice. And Harley, yourself?
I don't remember the actual audition, but I didn't know anything about soaps. I hadn't watched them since I was little. And I didn't realize it was a huge cultural phenomenon because it was Luke and Laura time. So I just sort of wandered in, and it was, probably very lucky for me that I didn't know what a big deal it was. And so I don't remember much about the audition, but once I got the job, I was told I would be replacing Lacey Wheeler. And so I walked in the first day. I walked into wardrobe. I said, "Hi, I'm the new Lacey Wheeler." And the costumer, who turned out to be my good friend, John Helgerson, he flipped out because, first of all, he had no idea that Lacey had changed. And I was probably 6 inches taller. Anyway, it was a nightmare. So that was upsetting. So my introduction to the set was somebody like swearing at me. And then I worked for like a day or two. And then Gail Kobe called me at home and said, "Listen, you're doing fine. Just sit it out for 2 weeks because our head writer saw you and he wants to use you as a different character altogether. So we're going to bring back the old Lacey, and then we will bring you back as her sister." And I thought, okay. And so that's what they did. But I felt awful for the poor actress playing Lacey, having been like, dismissed, and then, "Oh, sorry, you got to come back and introduce the person that replaced you." So, but she was really nice about it, but it was so awkward.
Oof.
But anyway, it all turned out well.
That's tough. And Michael, do you remember your audition? Did you have to audition?
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. All my children, I said bye-bye to that. And literally the next day I auditioned at NBC, 30 Rock, and found out I got Mark Wheeler, which was perfect because I'm from Detroit, and I don't know, I felt much closer to that than I did playing some high sophisticated, really I should have been like an Englishman in All My Children role with an English accent and very high, and this was really in my wheelhouse. And I felt, because I had an audition for as a construction worker for the All My Children, and they're going, no, we'll get, we'll create just like Harley. Let's create this character, or you with Lurlene, same thing. Let's create this character that was just so far right for me. Had I done it with an accent, it would have been fine. But they put me in a box, and it just never worked. And Mark Wheeler it fit like a glove, and got the call from Gail, and bang! I was so lucky. I was so lucky. It was like I didn't skip a beat. Yeah.
I think Gail had that. Gail was one of those people that connected with her actors. At least I had that experience. When she liked your work, she knew how to talk to you. She knew what your strengths were. And I think she did that with a lot of us. She had them write the parts for us, which was such a gift.
I found her frightening.
I did too, until her dying day. But I also, I loved her at the same time. But did she scare me?
Oh my!
She was very.
One time,
she was tough.
I was supposed to wear a bikini underneath a robe and take the robe off. And I refused to take the robe off. I wasn't going to stand there on TV in a bikini. And she pulled me into her office and she read me the riot act for that.
But you stood your ground.
I stood my ground. I did not take the robe off.
I remember that day.
Terri, proud of you. You were ahead of me.
I know. I wasn't in that. No.
I love that. Tom, the book came out in March. Tell us, what's the reaction been?
It's been very good. I didn't realize, well, I should have realized, but a lot of Another World fans watched Texas. So I'm getting a lot of good feedback from the Another World people. That's what has prodded me to do a book about Another World at that same period of time. What was going on across the soundstage? Because when I did the Texas book, as you probably could read, there was a lot of stories about intermingling with the Another World people. And I did watch Another World at that time, from 1980 to 82. So I thought it might be good to have a companion book about Another World. And then also Another World, just in 79, expanded to 90 minutes and became the first and only soap to go to 90 minutes. So that's the hook. That's like the
When did that happen?
Another World went to 90 minutes in March of 1979, and then when Texas spun off by itself in August of 1980, Another World went back to 60 minutes.
Wow.
I can't imagine a 90-minute.
I
I can't imagine
Yeah.
a 90-minute any form of scripted series like that. Really.
Yeah,
Could
they
you
did for a
imagine
year and a half.
learning those?
No, that's where everybody's mind went, right? How do you
Yeah.
learn those extra pages?
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, talk about those early days. I mean, you know, Michael, you did All My Children, but for a short period of time, this was all of your, you know, big first daytime show. What do you remember? Was there someone on Texas who took you under their wing, showed you the ropes? Was it frightening for all of you? Harley, do you want to?
No, Michael, you go.
Well, for me, it was, I don't know, I just felt so lucky. Like I said, all my children, I had a great time and I met a lot of great people, and obviously it was all my children. So yeah, I got a little taste of daytime hierarchy to a certain degree. But the camaraderie and the beauty of Texas to me was driving out in the car with everybody. Like you say, we got to meet everybody in Another World. So we were driving out in the car with Morgan Freeman and Kira Sedgwick and Robert Christensen and just all sorts of people. So we had a blast. To me, it was just an adventure. And being out there and kind of, you were in your own little world. And that's all we did for that whole period of time. You were there, you were there. So I don't know. I just loved it. I had a great time. Like, the people there were just magnificent. Cal and Judy Lewis and Gail and just our whole, you know, just our whole crowd. So
Michael, what was it like?
I was just going to say, Tina, I didn't know that Charlie Hill died. So that was kind of.
yeah.
I didn't either, Tina.
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah.
God bless him. God bless
Yeah,
him.
it was because I was still good friends with him, and he had moved to I think I'm going to say Montana or Idaho, and he was a radio host and had some health issues, and just yeah, it was sad.
Yeah.
Really sad.
Michael, what was it like going back 30, I don't even know, but to As the World Turns and going back out to Brooklyn?
Oh, I did a couple of shows for my buddy Chris Goutman.
I know, but you went back to that studio, right?
Yeah, it was a trip. It was great. It was taking the train and just, you know, again, just have, you know, go with the flow, have some fun.
Michael, was that in the early 2000s?
Yeah, it was like 1999. No, it wasn't. What am I talking about?
It was like
It was around
2000,
2010.
2001.
2000. No, actually, it was around 2000.
No, before.
Hold on. I'm getting my. I was on As the World Turns, but that was at CBS. That was in 2000.
Oh, so we were back in before we went to Brooklyn.
Yes, before I went to Brooklyn, I was on As the World Turns there on CBS, 57th Street. So I did that. Unfortunately, the executive producer forgot to tell CBS, we're bringing on a new character. And she did it kind of unbeknownst to CBS. And then Chris had to come and say, we got to let you go. So I had my best friend, who was Chris Goutman, saying, we got to let you go. And I had moved from LA for a 3-year contract. So that was kind of, a drag. But that's showbiz, baby.
That's show business. Terri, what do you remember those early days?
I just really remember like the friendships. I mean, I was really good friends with Michael. I was really good friends with Harley. Tina, we didn't have any scenes together.
We didn't have scenes together, no, but
anything.
yeah.
But I remember we were doing a diet called the Beverly Hills diet.
Oh, yes.
Deal with this. And Harley,
I don't remember that.
I remember it well.
we had to eat one fruit a day, and it was like pineapple for 3 days and watermelon, and we were on to watermelon, and Michael and I were so hungry he ran out and bought a watermelon, cut it open, and we ate it with our hands. We were so hungry.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Can I tell my Beverly Hills diet story? So it was very successful. Michael, I think it was you that started it, or it could have been Sharon. But I remember like the whole family was doing it, but not Donald. But after you do the fruit days, which is like for 2 weeks, you just do a fruit a day, just what Terri was describing. But then they introduced steak and lobster. And the thing is, you can have as much as you want, like unlimited quantities, as long as you only do that thing. So I went out on my lobster day and I had a lot of lobster. And I woke up around 6 the next morning and I had to be on set early because there was, what was the name of, like, I want to say Margaret Sullivan, or there was some like renowned actress who was doing like a 1-day thing in a hospital room. And I might have the wrong name. I get it was either Maureen O'Hara or
Maureen O'Hara. I think it was Maureen O'Hara. I remember that.
All right.
Yeah.
So I had to be on set with this scene with Maureen O'Hara, which I was very excited about. But I woke up and I had this inexplicable, I can't even describe it. It was like the size of a walnut, like my lip had exploded. And it was, I had to go to the emergency room. I woke up my roommate screaming. I lived with a guy named Bobby, who was also on the show. Anyway, we went to the emergency room and they said it was a reaction to like mercury in the lobster. And they had to shoot me up with steroids to make it was like so scary looking. We're not talking a little thing. This was the stuff of nightmares. So anyway, I just remember doing this scene with Maureen O'Hara. It was Maureen O'Hara?
So
Maureen O'Sullivan.
Maureen O'Sullivan. Okay. And I was just trying to survive because I had so much strange medication.
Oh, that's horrible, Harley.
That's horrible.
So that was the end of the Beverly Hills diet.
Harley.
I bet it was. Tina, what do you remember about those early days?
Well, I had mainly been a theater actress and I knew nothing about cameras or, anything. And I remember Barbara Rucker and Josephine Nichols were, they were so patient and loving about, okay, this is where you look. You don't need to do, because I was from the theater. And so it was really difficult for me to just be still and talk. And then I remember Jay Hammer telling me one time, it's all in the eyes. It's all in the eyes.
He's a good friend of mine. I love Jay.
Just amazing.
Amazing.
And then also the crew were so amazing because one of my first couple of days, the cameraman said to me, sidled up, one of the cameramen, and said, okay, you see that light? When that goes on, that's your camera. So that's where you do that, don't worry about all those other ones, It was just a lovely, and what was our stage manager's name? Ed? Was it Ed?
I can remember Gary.
Isn't it amazing that there's no orientation,
No.
To help, in such a high stress
environment. They just assume you know what you're doing, which in a way is nice, but if you don't, it's very nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Tom, this period of the show when all four of these actors appear, Pam Long was playing the role of Allison before she became the new head writer. Can you talk about
Ashley?
She was playing Ashley.
Sorry.
Yes, I interviewed Pam, and she was a newcomer. I think she was a beauty pageant winner and a model. And she was really nervous, she told me. And she felt uncomfortable with dealing with the other actors because she worked with Jerry Lanning, Beverly McKinsey, Carla Borelli, and these were all seasoned pros. And she was so intimidated, she would go off and, she said, on a pad, try to figure out what was going to happen next, and would go to Gail Kobe and say, I think this is going to happen. And Gail would first like say, oh, no, and like shoo her away and stuff. But then she started to like her ideas, and they sort of, Gail sounds like encouraged her to keep at it. And so she came on in March of '81. She didn't become the head writer until a year later. But that was she told me was the start of her, her interest in doing it and stuff. And she would go in, she would say to Gail, oh, I bet you so-and-so shot this one. And Gail was like, oh, no, go away. But that's what started, that's how she started to make inroads with Gail. But as Ashley, she was great, especially at the beginning when Ashley was more of a villain. Her and Justin, trying to steal the oil from Lurlene's grandpappy's ranch and stuff.
Yeah.
It was really, that was under Dorothy Purser and Sam Ratcliffe, who took over from Joyce and Bill Corrington, who had created and had wrote the show for the first 6 months. But so they are the ones that Dorothy and Sam introduced Lurlene into the mix, and it was a great addition. And then the next guy who took over from them, who's a novelist, Paul Rader, he's the one who got the idea of putting Lurlene together at Ruby, and then he created the Lucy and Ethel of daytime.
But
Such
how
great
lucky
characters.
for Pam to have Beverly sort of teaching her how to act, reading
Yes.
that in your book. I was like, wow. I mean, that is like.
Well, Pam said she really technically failed the audition, the screen test. She was the worst of the 4 or 5 other candidates, but Beverly just noticed something in her and told Gail Kobe, I want her. She goes, I'll work with her. I know there's something there. And they took the chance. And like I said, she was a great villainous Ashley. Unfortunately, they softened the character as it went along. Like they softened Billy Joe and they softened Paige, which I thought was the wrong thing to do as a viewer. But when she was a villain, she was really good.
What did the actors think of Pam becoming head writer? Did was it surprising to all of you when that happened?
I'm trying to think.
Not really. I mean, because I was hanging out with Pam a little bit at that time, and I know that she was so smart and could see those things. I don't have that kind of vision, and it was kind of natural for her to just move into that area because she had that kind of sense of story and characters. It was kind of great to watch, actually.
She was my sister on it, and so
Right.
I felt such a like, what do you mean you're going to be doing that?
Oh, right.
And I don't know how old I was, but I was like, what do you mean? And I felt so lost, because I just adored Pam.
Yeah.
Harley, we gave her baby shower. Do you remember that?
Uh-huh.
I read it in the book, but I don't think I did remember.
I remember that.
I don't
Where-
remember. What we had.
I think it was at Barbara Rucker's apartment, wasn't it?
Wow.
I'm pretty sure it was. I think it was at Barbara Rucker's
Isn't
apartment.
that amazing? Life.
But I remember it vividly. I remember,
Well,
Well,
that was my drinking days. So, I have a few lost weekends. But I
Youth.
remember hearing about Pam becoming head writer and thinking, oh my God, that's so cool. You can do that? I was just
but
shocked
you're a
that
writer,
an
yeah.
actor could become a writer.
And do I have it right? Is it Gail and Pam who brought both of you, Michael and Harley, to Guiding Light?
Actually,
And John
Harley
Whitesell.
and Weitzel probably. Well, Harley was first. Harley went first, and then I happened to be in New York and ran into Harley outside
I remember that, yeah.
54th Street or something. She's like, I'm doing Guiding Light. I'm like, oh wow. And I had done Bare Essence, and then I had tested for a thing called Emerald Point.
With Jeannie Francis, right, Michael?
Yes, so Jeannie Francis and Ian McShane and Jessica Walters, and it was a great cast. It was Great cast. Unfortunately, it was Jeannie Francis's parlay into nighttime television.
Mhm.
So I had, and she said, anyway, I kind of was like, well, Guiding Light. And then you talked to Gail, and I think they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And it was open for a year. And I was like, okay, how bad can it get? Right? I'm a doctor. How bad can it get? Oh, yeah, I got to find a cure for the dreaming death. There you go. That's how bad
You killed Carolyn Clark.
Yes, I did.
You did. Leslie Ann. You killed Leslie Ann.
Yes, I did.
You did.
And I got the hell out
Michael
of that.
went from my brother to my brother-in-law
Yeah.
and slash lover.
/ lover.
I'm not sure. Did we ever consummate it?
No,
I don't think we did. I think I was too nice.
You and me both. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Nice
The
girls,
Reardons were a great family. The Reardons were a great family on Guiding Light.
Yeah.
They
I
really
wasn't
were.
a rear. I just married into them.
You married a Reardon, but Sims were.
Tony.
The Sims were I mean, we were psychotic, but I didn't realize Stephen Joyce had been on Texas before I got there because he became my father on Guiding Light.
Oh wow!
Isn't it amazing? The fact that you played brother and sister on Texas and then brother and sister-in-law on Guiding, crazy. It really is. New York had that magic, really. Tina, Tony, one of our fans, Tony was asking, would you talk about your experiences working with Josephine Nichols, who you called Miss Kate?
She was one of my favorite people on the planet, and we became very, very close friends. And she got me involved with this organization called Futures for Children in Albuquerque. She said, I think there's something you might be interested in. And it was a organization that you would sponsor a child and be sure that they at least got through high school, because the literacy rate on the reservations at that point was the lowest of any minority groups in the country. So we then went out to the reservation together for a fundraiser for them, and because NBC was one of the only stations that they got on the reservation, so we were a big deal out there. But Barbara Rucker and I, with the three of us, would have lunch all the time, and after the show was over, we stayed in touch till she left us. We were just dear, dear friends. But she was the consummate, professional and such a great mentor, and would talk through scenes with you when maybe you weren't understanding the whole picture. She was stunning. I loved her.
And do I have it right? Some of the fans have been commenting, are you the only Texan who was on Texas?
I thought I was, but then when I read Tom's book, there were other people that said they were from Texas as well. But I'm
Lily Barnstone.
I would have been 5th generation, but I did not stay.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, Lily Barnstone, who played Lacey. She is definitely from Texas. That's where when I interviewed her for the book, and she was in Texas when I spoke with her. But she never told anyone. She hid it because she was supposed to. Lacey, the Wheelers are from Boston, so she didn't want to so she said she always hid her. She never told anyone she was from Texas.
Right.
But she commented to me, but she noticed that all the accents were wrong. But
mine was not.
Not yours. Yes, of them are.
You had the real deal. The real deal.
Yeah.
Terry, you and Michael were in a love triangle with Diane, right? Diane Neal as Ruby. Talk about working opposite each other. I was happily surprised to see that you two keep very much in touch, you and Michael.
Yeah, I was madly in love with Michael. I had
Everybody was.
crush. I know.
That's true.
And I kept going like, what? I'm getting no response. What is going on here? I'm like trying my damnedest. But it was great.
No, we had a blast. Terry was great. Diane was great. I mean, Tina, you guys were just
We
the
had so
best.
much fun.
We had
all
so
did.
much fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it was. And Harley, I mean, just
Yeah.
Donald May,
Yeah.
it was a very tight knit group, and it was just there's not one day that, I mean, of course we had days, especially going through Haitopa, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you all had to do. We were back in the studio.
I have to read something from a fan in a little while, but yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
but in general, we had a blast. We really did. We had a blast.
I
Well-
felt like we had the perfect nuclear family. I loved, you know, I had the best brother, the best father, the best mother. I just loved them.
Yeah.
I mean, how lucky is that too on, you know, your first big contract role too, to luck out that way?
And we all stayed close. Sharon Acker
Yeah.
and she, you know, we all, Don May, I'd see him out here. We all stayed pretty close. The only one I wish was Gail Kobe. I wish I would have stayed. I felt bad when I left Guiding Light because it wasn't on the best of terms because I had an out. If I got a pilot, I could get out, and I was doing the dreaming death, and I was ready to kill myself. I got an out. I got to do Family Honor. I got a pilot, so I could not have to come back.
Oh, I remember that, Michael.
Right.
Yeah.
And I felt bad.
I remember
because
that well.
Gail was so supportive of me, and I went to her funeral. And I went out to visit her one time. She wasn't around out at the old home, but I knew I heard you went and saw her, Harley, and I wish I would have stayed in touch with her because she was a big part of my career, and I really.
Yeah, she was huge in my life.
Yeah.
I didn't realize until I started reading Tom's book that there were actors that she did not love or connect with
me
for whatever
neither.
reason. And
Really?
that was not a pleasant experience.
No.
I mean,
I
it was
think-
hard enough when she liked you.
I think like a lot of
Gail's
executive producers.
Gail's nephew had commented, his name is Greg, on a post about tonight's show. He was hoping that Gail would be mentioned tonight. So I'm
Oh,
Of
so
course you
Oh,
would.
yeah.
yeah,
You can't talk about the show without Gail.
yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah.
When Tom and I did the first Texas show, we did it back in May, I think, with Karen Richmond and Tom Wiggin and John McCafferty. There was a lot of talk about shenanigans, going out to the Hamptons. Were any of you involved in all of those shenanigans?
I was not.
No.
Well,
That was a-
Shenanigans here.
Wasn't that another world group? Wasn't that Chris Rich? And
yeah,
Nancy
that
Green?
was more
Well, it
that
might have
group
been
there.
them planning it, and they
That
tagged
was
along.
That was the first year of people. With Ken Schreiner.
Yeah,
seemed to be
I wasn't there yet.
The ringleader. And
Kim was the
We
troublemaker.
weren't there yet. We were there at
That
the
was
end.
early Texas.
right,
Yeah.
that was the first year of
Yeah.
Texas.
BG
Going back
to
Gail for Gail.
I was going to say, going back to Gail Kobe, from even the Brian's Hope book, when executive producers come in and they didn't hire the actors, like the ones that had trouble with Gail were Ken Schreiner, Catherine Hicklin, Lily Barnstone, and they weren't hired by Gail. They were already there. So I think
Right.
if you were there and she told John McCafferty, of all people, he needed acting lessons. And as Billy Joe, he blew the screen right off. He was
Absolutely.
it's Hamilton. She told Randy Hamilton he needed to take acting lessons. And these were people that were already there. So I think she just follows what other new executive producers do. When they come in, they want to put their stamp on the show. And she nitpicked with these people and, she got Ken Schreiner off. She fired Catherine Hicklin. She replaced Lily Barnstone. And, so I think
That is a horrible thing to hear, I can imagine, from an executive producer.
that you need to work with an acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be upsetting. Yeah.
to say the least. I wanted to read from Bruce Fleming, I loved Texas as a kid, and still to this day remember being sad when it was taken off the air. I was only 9. The antics of Ruby and Lurlene were the greatest, and my favorite storyline was the whole Hitopa relic story that mimicked Indiana Jones to me, at least as a kid. I have a question for Harley. I distinctly remember as a kid a scene of Brette walking through a pool or a pond of water to retrieve the relic somewhere inside the cave. As she grabbed the relic, it released hundreds of snakes down on top of her. I still remember bits of that scene to this day because it scared the crap out of me.
Oh.
What do you remember about that, Harley?
Well, I have a feeling that was when we did the exteriors in Texas, and then we ended up in Brooklyn inside the cave. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
You did the exteriors in Palm Springs.
Palm Springs.
Palm
Palm Springs. Did I
Palm
say
Springs.
yes?
Yeah.
In my imagination, it was Texas.
Because we were jealous at first, and then when we saw what you were doing,
Yeah. But then
not so much.
I don't remember snakes falling on me. And I have to say, I don't really mind snakes. I don't really mind spiders. I really don't like rodents. So I think I had an experience as an actor working with a rat, but that was guiding light. But anyway, the snakes, it didn't really leave a big impression. I'm guessing, but it was before the days with green screen and CGI, right? So,
Yeah.
but I can't imagine they were all real.
Richard Hankins is the art director, and there was a mixture of fake snakes and
Mixture
real
of fake
snakes.
and real. Oh, I remember.
He remembers after the shoot, the snake handler came up to them and said, "Well, I got most of them. I'm leaving." And he was like, "What do you mean you got most of them?" He's like, "I can't find a couple of them, but I have to go." And he said, "Today, there's probably still snakes, offspring of those snakes, probably still in that studio."
I don't remember that at all.
Well, they scared the crap out of a 9-year-old back in the day.
Oh, I bet.
Well, then our work was done.
Yeah.
Yes, there
Is
is.
the studio still there?
The studio?
Yeah, is the sound
No.
I
stage?
think so.
the whole-
Yeah, I
No,
think
it was
it's
knocked
Oh,
down the last couple of years. JC Studios in Brooklyn. Yeah, I think it became a school. Yeah.
Oh,
Terry worked there on As the World Turns.
Yes, I did.
right.
Were there
Right.
snakes, Terry?
Did you find the
Thank
snake?
God I didn't know. But
When you think back on Texas, what do you think you learned there that has helped you move on to many other things? Terry, do you want to go first?
oh my gosh, I mean, everything. I didn't know how to face a camera, or I mean, I understood, downstage and whatever, but that there was a camera that had a light and that was your camera. And I learned all sorts of technical things that I had no idea about.
Harley?
So that was it.
I'd say the same thing. Everything. I mean, like Tina, I came from a theater background, and and for me, it was Donald May who was like, turn that way, don't start talking, your camera's not on. How do you know? Look for the light. Like, oh, okay. See, he honestly, and he was, he had a very dry sense of humor. So, he would roll his eyes, but he was so kind to me, really, when he realized what a complete novice I was. And I learned, I came from total ignorance about that whole process.
Mm-hmm.
And Donald and Judith played your mom and dad. What do you remember about Judith?
Oh, I loved Judith. She, as I said to Tom, that woman could cry. She could cry before breakfast, after lunch. She was so beautiful. And she was physically beautiful. And I just remember her, she would show up early in the morning, as we all did, with no makeup and, there among the donuts and the coffee. And she was just she had no vanity. You know what I mean? She was just a beautiful soul and was completely fearless about, with the curlers in her hair. I don't know. They did a lot to make her look very, what's the word? Highbrow and haute couture and wealthy. And she was just not that at all. She just looked like someone who woke up happy. She had she was always beaming, except when she was crying.
And Michael, what do you think you learned there?
Well, pretty much like what everyone said. My whole experience or background was theater as well. So for me, All My Children was the start, but it really got solidified at Texas, and just the whole process, because it expands your brain to be able to start to learn dialogue in a way in which is obviously very helpful for actors, and just the whole experience of confidence and breathing, and just you're right. You come in, you're tight as a drum, and by the time you left, you kind of felt you had your sea legs a little bit, and you had some confidence about what you did. So it was a huge part of growing up.
Education. Tina, we've talked about Lucy and Ethel. Would you share your memories of Diane and
Oh my gosh.
What do you think made you two click so well?
We've actually talked about that. We're still very dear friends, and I don't know if that we were both from the same acting studio, and from Michael Howard's studio, and we have known of each other. And so when we worked very similarly, so we didn't have any kind of angst about that. It just meshed. We were able to and the writing was so good that it was hard not to be able to do that, because it just flowed. It was so funny and so good, and plus we were having the time of our lives. I mean, some of those storylines were so funny. Some of the I remember lines where when the mummy was turning, and I had a line that said, "Ruby, I don't think he looks right." Things like that. Just hilarious stuff, and we just had so much fun. It was just great. And we shared a dressing room too, so that was
that helps.
It helped a lot.
That certainly helps.
Yeah.
Terri and I shared a dressing room.
Who?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, Terri and Harley did?
Yeah.
Yes.
With Lisby Larson.
Yeah.
And Lisby. Yes, I
loved Lisby on Guiding Light. I didn't know her on Texas.
I'm still in touch with her.
Oh, that's so great.
Terri, you have to put me in touch. Fans would love to see Lisby.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes. Would you give her my love?
And give Alex our love too, Tina.
Yeah.
Give Alex
I
our love.
will. Yeah.
And Tina, where is Diane now?
She's she's mainly in she's here. They have an apartment right down the road here, but they're mainly in Sag Harbor with her. She's married to John Venema. Do you know John? He did a lot of work at Irish Rep and done a lot of TV and stuff, but they're mainly out there now. So
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Give her my love.
I love the love and affection. I've really been impressed from the first group to this group. There really is a lot of love and affection from this show that everyone seems to really have. Tom, do you agree? I mean, you interviewed so many for Ryan's Hope and this one, but it seems a very special period in everyone's career and life.
Yeah, I think the difference, like I said, was a lot of Texas brought in a lot of newcomers, and they all seemed to bond. The first group bonded in the Hamptons and Hurley's. Second group seemed to bond. Ryan's Hope lasted a little longer, and of course you had the actors playing the Ryans and the Coleridges with the main families, and ABC bought the show, and then all new people came on, so there was a lot of push-pull between the creators of the show and ABC, where here in Texas, after the Corringtons and Paul Rausch left, there was pretty much Gail Kobe for the rest of the run, and then different head writers. And the Paul Rader, who was just a novelist, he had no writing experience. Gail smartly picked Gary Tomlin and Sam Ratcliffe to be his breakdown writers, and then Richard Culleton as one of the staff writers. So that's why those scripts were the dialogue were really good, because they did all the heavy lifting. Because I interviewed Richard and Gary and his wife, Carolyn Culleton. And Paul Rader would come up with the story, but it was up to Gary and Sam and Richard and Carolyn to flesh it out. So, those are great. They're great soap opera writers. So you guys had really good writers.
Yes.
Even to make a story like Hai To Pa funny, and it was totally out there.
And what Gail and Pam did at Guiding Light was amazing material for the show. I mean, it really.
Pam was very smart because Paul Rader, being a novelist, wanted to work on the characters he created. So Billy Joe, Jenny Marshall, and Karen Richmond's character Elena was sort of pushed to the side. Yeah. And when Pam took over, she immediately came up with stories for them. And the other great thing Pam, I thought, did was taking Mousy Allison, firing that actress, and bringing in Terri, aged Allison a little bit, and made Allison the new Vixen, which was sort of like the old Ashley. And, she said that in my book, that she wanted, Allison was really Ashley when she first came on the show. So she also brought in a lot of she put the families together. She had Lisby Page living with Ashley and Justin and Allison and that the big ranch. So she was getting it all, putting everything back together, but she just didn't have enough time. I mean, they only gave her like 3 or 4 months, and then they pulled the plug on the show.
It's the irony too. We all replace somebody.
That's really something too, right?
Oh,
yeah. So we all know that feeling a little bit of.
Well, not Tina exactly.
No, Tina,
you started out as somebody else, but
yes. Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you do it later in your careers as well? Ever replace somebody?
Not on TV. I have in theater.
Interesting.
Yeah, not in TV.
No.
We're supposed to replace Patrick Duffy. I had a choice on a Friday night whether to replace Patrick Duffy on Dallas or take a pilot called Family Honor, which was only a pilot. There was no guarantee. And my managers wanted to kill me because I said, we're doing the pilot.
It was Larry and Chuck.
It was Larry and Chuck. There was no replacing Patrick Duffy. I knew that was a dead end. The poor guy who did it, Dak Rambo, did it for 1 year, and Patrick Duffy came back.
Right.
The dream, right?
Yeah.
The dream.
Yes.
So my own way, I learned a lesson from.
No, you're smart.
Yeah, that was a good.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
Well, I got to work with Eli Wallach and
right. Yeah.
Michael Madsen ended up being in it.
Wow.
It was a great opportunity.
It was good.
Ray Liotta, Another World.
Yep.
Yeah. What led you all into this career, Terri? What led you into theater and acting?
It was a way of expressing myself in a way that Terri couldn't do. And so I was very, very shy. And so to be able to be a different character, to be something else, was really magnificent for me. And just one thing led to another. I was absolutely hell-bent on being successful.
Wow. Tina?
Well, I was in a dance studio growing up. Her name was Utah Ground, and she trained Tommy Tune and Sandy Duncan. And I came along, and we all trained at the Dallas Summer Musicals in the summers. And then all I wanted to do was come and dance on Broadway. And it was amazing because the producer of the summer musicals we not only did I get my equity card at 16, I had all this experience for every summer with all of these brilliant musical theater stars. And I walked into New York with my equity card and agents. So all I wanted to do was dance on Broadway, which was what I was doing when I got, Texas. But, one thing led to another, and it's just been a glorious career. I've had a best time, doing this lovely, lovely thing we do.
What's your favorite musical?
I've thought about it a lot, but I was lucky enough to do the End of the Woods at the Delacorte.
Oh, wow.
When we're doing End of the Woods in the park.
Huh?
Sondheim is hanging out with us all the time. It's Donna Murphy, Dennis, O'Hare, all of these amazing, Amy Adams. And it was one of I liken it to the group we have here. It was one of those groups that we just went.
Tina, who did you play?
Oh, I was the grandmother. I was Red Riding's grandmother, and I was understudying Jack's mother. But it was one of those.
It's one of my very favorites. Oh my God.
Yeah. And Paul Giamatti, of course, was the conductor. It was.
Are you on the original cast album?
Oh, no, we weren't original. This was the 50th anniversary of the Delacorte.
Okay.
And they had Oscar
you should have
wanted. Yeah. It was a lovely experience, but that's one of my favorite
Donna Murphy as Mrs. Astor on The Gilded Age.
I know. She's a lovely, we've been friends because when I was in Whorehouse, her first show was playing our song right next door. So I've known Donna that long.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Michael, for you, what led you in?
Well, being from Detroit, it was never thought of theater or acting or anything like that. I mean, you made cars. My dad was a doctor, so I was going to be a doctor, or thought I wanted to be a doctor. And somehow, my mom and dad always loved films. And so, I don't know, I ended up going to school and hated pre-med. And I don't know, one day I got a hair up my ass after listening to a lot of Firesign Theater and doing a lot of the voices and playing all those characters, and just, I don't know, I just kind of, like I said, I always loved films. So I just kind of, one day I went to this one school called UAD, the theater, Marygrove, and I did a one act by Chekhov. And I just said, do you think I got any chance? Do I have what it takes? And they said, if you want to come in the program, you come on in. And it was one of the top programs in the country. I mean, Esapatha Murkinson was there. David Kelly was there. We had a lot of great, Adrian Bailey was there. We had a lot of great people that were in that program. And we went on to win the American House Theater Festival 2 out of the 3 years I was there. I went to the Kennedy Center. So it was a great program and a great start. And I got lucky again. I'm a lucky guy.
And Harley, for you?
I started, when I was 5 years old, my mom was, she was a music professor, and she was, she played the sorceress in an opera called Dido and Aeneas. And they needed little angels, and so they recruited the kindergartners. So I was an angel, and I didn't have any lines, but I just remember not being prepared for the fact that the lights would go out in the house, and to be on stage with lights on me. And it was, late at night, and I was wearing red lipstick and a white dress. And it was just a peak experience. And I was, very much like Terri, really shy. But for some reason, I felt free when I was on stage to be all the things that I couldn't let myself be in real life. And I found it just really liberating and exciting. And that's all I wanted to do.
Wow. Do you still write?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. In fact, it's funny. I still love the, you know, the act of acting, like acting. But I think the business of Hollywood, I just moved to Philadelphia, like randomly on an impulse, like very suddenly, right? I mean, Michael will tell you, I've been in LA for 40 years. And then one day I said, yeah, it's time to go. And here I am. But now that I'm here, I feel like, wow, Hollywood's kind of a traumatic experience. And I think I didn't realize what a tough place it is, because it doesn't seem that tough. People are nice, the weather's nice. There's something very tough about it. And I realized that I lost my ambition somewhere along the way. And I discovered that what I think I am at heart is a writer. And I still love acting, but I stopped loving Hollywood a while ago.
Are you enjoying Philly so far?
Yes.
Chris Goutman wants to come see you.
Yes.
We give him your number.
Oh, I
Yes,
love that.
and I haven't yet been to New York. I bought a house that was built in 1804. So I've never lived in a house this old. So
That's exciting.
thank you. It is exciting, but it's been an adventure, and not all of it, what I was expecting. So I find that I keep waiting for my real life to start, but I'm still like painting and patching walls and trying to understand how this thing works, and the narrow stairways, and
Lord.
Wow.
I'm sort of house obsessed at the moment, and trying to just. And my daughter lives in DC and she works there, and she said, "Okay, I'm taking the train up next week." I said, "No, because the attic isn't painted yet." And she goes, "Mom, does it need to be?" And I said, "Oh, actually, no, it doesn't need to be. Just come." So
That's amazing. David says Philadelphia is lucky to have her, as I say in
Yes, they
Philadelphia.
are.
As I say in
That's
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Before I let you all go, what's your favorite role that you've had, Terri?
Oh my
Ever?
God.
Yes.
I know. Think about that.
Quantum Leap, I think.
Ooh.
An episode
Which
I did of Quantum Leap, and it was
Oh,
Teresa, who was in 1963 Brooklyn. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, interesting. I love that. I'm going to look for that. Tina?
I think Lurlene probably was, I mean, although I loved Angel and Whorehouse too. I played that for 2.5 years, and those were great. I've had some great ones since, but I think your beginning ones are the ones you hold in your heart, because it's the purest you, probably because you're young and can just do that,
That's a great outlook on it. Right. It is purest of your
Yes.
Michael?
I don't know. I love them all, really.
Yeah.
We had a good time. I mean, obviously, I to a certain degree, I don't think we fleshed it out the way I wanted to, but because the writer, the executive producer had certain ideas. But I love playing, Private Eye, Jack Leary. I would have liked to have fleshed it out better, but we had a blast. Everything I did, like I said.
You find the fun in everything.
I'm grateful. Yeah.
It's a good way to live. It's a good way to live.
Yeah.
Harley, for you?
I think on stage I was Maggie and Cat on a Hot Tin Roof in regional theater, so that was exciting. And then I mean, to do a classic play like that and a part like that is pretty exciting. And then oddly enough, I did a really obscure TV. I mean, I did a lot of obscure things, but one in particular was called The Android Affair, and which is about as deep as it sounds. And I don't know, I had a great time. I had just had a great time in that role. I fell in love with the robot, essentially. An android. Wasn't a total robot.
As you do.
And we had
course.
sex.
Isn't that what we all do? And Tom, your favorite role?
My favorite role? Actually, my favorite role is from this book, getting all these little reunions. We did it 2 for Ryan's Hope. We've done now 2 for Texas. And I guess I like playing matchmaker.
That's so nice. It's great.
People got together.
Well, it's nice to really, truly, I mean, somebody as a daytime fan growing up watching Guiding Light and seeing the love of people, and to see this is really, I mean, when you think how long ago it was, the effects you all had on each other's lives and, the lives of each other and the lives of all these fans who are watching us tonight. Really, that, who could ever imagine that, the shows that you were doing back then would still resonate with the fans at home today.
Yeah.
It is
It's
so
great.
great. Yeah, it is great.
It really, it's, I think executives underestimate the power of daytime and the power of daytime.
Oh,
fandom.
yes.
They always did. Yeah.
Yeah. They
Look at the
really do.
1970s. They wiped the tapes. Like, luckily, this started in 1980, where they were saved, so you were able to watch them on YouTube. But like Another World, 1979, you get a handful of episodes. They were all NBC wiped them because they had.
Wow.
Yeah, they're all gone. Like NBC and CBS, especially, were horrible. They would just wipe the tapes after the day.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very rare what you could find from Guiding Light or As the World Turns on TV, on YouTube today.
On YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame. It really is. They'd make some money. They really would if they, people would be. And, I don't know if you all know, but it is fascinating, or has been fascinating to me since starting this show in 2020, the amount of people who tell me that they never watched Texas, As the World Turns, Another World, any of these shows until they started watching them on YouTube. And even though they're not there in their entirety, they will piece it together and watch. And to me, that is just
Wow.
Yeah, it's a fascinating extension of what you have all created so many years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy. Thank you all so much. Tom, thank you for
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Thank you, Alan.
Great to see you all. Great to meet you,
see all
Tina.
of you.
I know it. I know.
Michael, I owe you a call.
Yeah, I know.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Yeah, great to see you.
Bye.
Oop. Thanks, everybody. I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Thank you to Terri Garber, Tina Johnson, Harley Jane Kozak, Michael Woods, and Tom Lisanti for spending this hour with us. Don't forget Tom's book, Texas, An Oral History of Daytime TV's Answer to Dallas, is available where books are sold. I am off to visit my sister and will be back with new shows in September. Finn Carter from As the World Turns will kick off the month on September 10th. If you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can do so down below. Turn on the notifications for reminders of all upcoming shows. And remember, if you like to stream audio versions, you can search The Locker Room on your favorite podcast app. Thanks, everybody. As always, have a great Labor Day. And please, please, please stay safe.